Hi, welcome to another edition of Conversations on Hope. I'm Janna, and I'm really honored and humbled to have my friend Darren here with us today. For the sake of time, we're going to jump right in, but first of all, I just wanted to say thank you, Darren, for coming and sharing your story. And
thanks for asking. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So in 2003, tell us what happened that sort of changed the direction of your life a little bit.
I lost one of my childhood friends, Greg Pasternak, to suicide. And, we were from 3-4 years old. I mean, we went to preschool together all the way up. And when I got the phone call that Greg had taken his life, my life changed there. So at that time, I was working and I wanted to do something to remember my childhood friend. And so we started out with a motorcycle ride, and we just as a memorial. And then after that, things happened where we were losing more and more people to suicide. So I started a foundation called the Fallen Brothers Foundation, and it was to bring awareness to suicide. And sadly, in those times, I mean, each year we were finding out more and more, and we were losing more people in our community to suicide. So it went from more of a memorial to more of a raising awareness of suicide and the effects of bullying, drug and alcohol abuse, and so that's kind of where things kind of led.
And then in 2009, the latter part of 2009, the unthinkable happened.
Yep.
And tell us a little bit about what happened to you and your family personally with this.
October of 2009, October 28th, my son, Justin, he came home from school. He'd been at school. Uncharacteristic of him, he was drinking that day with a friend, and he shouldn't have been, and he knows that. But he got in trouble, got in an argument that night with us, and he took his own life that night. So the first part of that, when this first happened, we thought it was just the alcohol and everything, but we found out it was kind of the perfect storm that, is what we call it, what happened that whole day and that week. Justin had suffered his 4th concussion in football, and today we know about this, the concussions. And so that day the Friday before he took his own life, he had the concussion suffered in the football game. We were pretty much letting him know that he was not going to play anymore. That it was his senior season, so he was upset about that. And his truck broke down on him on Monday, and argument with his girlfriend. And it was Justin's. He just wasn't acting normal that week, and now we know it was because of the concussion. And like I said, the drinking was very uncharacteristic of Justin. So I think that was kind of the perfect storm. Everything led to it, and that night we got a phone call that Justin had said he was going to take his own life. So we
from a friend,
from his girlfriend.
From his girlfriend.
And so we rushed home, and Justin was actually looking out my office window at me when I pulled up. So as a parent, that relief that he's okay. By the time we got out of my truck and into my house, he had shot himself in his heart. So I gave him CPR, and he took his last breath in my arms. And that's that. My life again changed that day.
It was pretty much shattered.
Yep.
From that point on.
It was.
And a lot of changes from there. You chose to sell your house.
Yeah, we just couldn't stay in the house. Too many memories, and we sold the house. It was just, I ended up selling my businesses.
So kind of a tailspin a little bit.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah.
Do you think you suffered depression during that time?
Yeah,
dealing with the grief.
I don't know how you can't. It was we dealt with things differently. Me and my wife. I was Justin's stepdad. He had another dad, that loved him. He had parents that loved him, families that loved him, and I felt like I was there, and I was Justin's protector. You know, when he needed things, and my depression was I felt I let him down. You know, that was his only way out. Is what he thought that. My wife, you know, she's still to this day is, you know, she deals with things differently than I do. But I believe, you know, that next week I went and spoke at the high school where Justin attended, and they had an assembly, and my fear was I was being told that there was other kids because of the repercussions of Justin's decision. Was
and
affecting
he was
other
very
kids.
popular.
Very popular.
Was captain
yeah.
of the football team.
Yep,
very well known.
Very well known. You know, everything was going good for him, and he, you know, like I said, it wasn't. I always, you know, it hurts when someone says, "Not my child. My child wouldn't do that." You know, and they think it's you have an idea in your mind of what a child would look like that would take their own life, and you don't. I mean, I've been involved with youth suicide for many years now, and there's not an age, a race, you know, anything that you can turn around and say that's a child that would commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and this was kind of the catalyst. Did you feel that talking to students at the schools, it helped the healing process when you talked about Justin and told his story?
It did, in that sense. I started the first time was I spoke at Justin's school, and I had some kids come up and talk to me after and say thank you. You know, then I got a phone call from another child that was going to self-harm, and she just needs someone to talk to. And the parent had called me, and I went up and talked to her and was able to, you know, talk her down. And she's a very happy person today with her own family, and so it kind of led. That's where it started, and then I've been asked to speak at other schools and church events, just at other places to help the kids, and each one of those, I'm getting calls saying thank you. I needed that. I needed someone to tell me things are going to be okay, and I think that's. One thing I've realized is most kids just want someone to talk to. You know, mom and dad's always try to fix things. They don't necessarily want to be fixed. They want just someone to listen. And so, some of these talks that I do, it's not just for the kids, it's also for the parents. So.
In what way is it for the parents? Just a
reminder? A reminder just to listen, to keep the open lines of communication. It's okay to be that parent and to be nosy and find out, what's going on in your child's life. But keeping that open lines of communication is very important.
And maybe creating a safe place. Because they are dealing with a lot of stuff that the parents probably didn't deal with. One
thing that we have set up with our daughter is she has someone, if she doesn't feel comfortable talking to me or her mom, we have friends of hers, of our family, that she can go talk to, and they don't have to tell us unless it's something, with her health. But she feels safe that she can go talk to them if she's having a hard time.
That's a great example or a practice that all parents can implement for their kids, because kids are dealing with a lot right now.
They are. Bullying is, it's at another level. I mean, we have social media that just by a click of a button, you can, really, in a sense, ruin someone's life. And staying anonymous. So that there is no repercussions, really. It is. And then, so I never had to deal with that type of stuff as far as back in the day. They didn't have the social media like they do now, but we've got to get into the younger age groups and teach, what bullying even is. Some of the things when I've talked to kids, they don't even realize they are bullying. So, and then we also need to teach kids that, an anthill isn't a mountain. Tomorrow will come, and things do get better. We need to teach coping skills, and there's things that need to happen, in the school system and at home that to help our kids. And nobody wants to talk about suicide. That's the elephant in the room. Exactly. But we do need to talk about those things, and that's good. Do you feel that
any sort of what does it do for you when you hear stories of kids coming up to you saying, "This really helped me. I was on the edge, and what you said to me really put things in perspective and kind of walked me off the edge a little, or brought me back to my senses a little bit."
Yeah, I mean, when the kids, I get those calls at night and just saying, "Hey, you really," it's not a funny thing, but at my son's funeral, we had a student come up and she told me that Justin actually saved her life one day. She had actually decided to take her own life, and she was having a rough day, and she was planning on taking her life that weekend. And just in talking to her and inviting her over to a party with the friends, she was able, to kind of see through the clouds. And she stayed at Justin's funeral. She stayed the whole time, and she gave him, when she was now in the military, she gave him one of her medals. And
wow.
So those are the things, and I thought, if my son can do it, I can do the same thing. And that's kind of where, like I said, me and my wife do deal with things differently. It was me able to go out and help these kids. I believe in God's will. That's the one thing I don't think a lot of people understand, is there's a reason for everything, and I had to accept that. There was a reason my child was taken. So, I mean, like I told you, I even got the tattoo on the chest that says God's will on it. Every morning I get up and I look in the mirror, and it reminds me why he's not here, and that I've got to be a little stronger today to help others. And hopefully that's the reason what God wanted me to do, and this is the road I have to travel, then so be it.
Wow.
So, but I mean, it's definitely made a difference in my life.
Mm-hmm. That is amazing that you have that perspective, and that you haven't been drowned by the sorrow and the grief, that you've been able to see just that ray of light, that in everything, whether it's good things or tragedy, a heartache, there is a purpose to it. As like you said, it's funny. It's not funny, but it's almost an ironic twist that God is working with even the most horrible, horrific events in our lives.
Exactly.
And the strength that you have. So where do you get that hope from? Where did that come from, do you think?
My daughter, and I truly believe my daughter is an angel to me. She was 6 when I lost my son, and my wife is also, I'm gonna get all tearied up, but there was a time in my life when this happened. I had, like I said, I sold my businesses. I started speaking at schools, but there was when I said I had to get back to work and to pay the bills, and it wasn't, I've always been a business owner, and I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to spend more time with family, so trying to find a job, this was, in the tough times where we just went through, and I about gave up. And I never told anybody that, but I had to listen almost, to what I've been telling the kids, but I looked at my daughter, and she's my inspiration for getting up every morning. So
love is a very powerful tool,
yeah, definitely.
isn't it?
Yep, it is. So, yeah.
Well, I wanted to mention something that the Fallen Brothers Foundation, they do have an annual charity that's coming up on April 28th, which is in 2 Saturdays.
2 Saturdays.
It's a 5K color walk, as they call it.
Yeah, color run walk for guys like me that don't run. They have a walk run, but the kids at Cypress, the Fallen Brothers actually has a scholarship awarded every year. We're very involved with the local high schools. Cypress High School has been amazing with us. I had to step down from the board this last year because of my health issues, but I'm still involved. But the people that are on the board now are amazing. They've lost children to suicide also. someone in their life that has affected them and why they're on the board. But they're doing a great job. But the money that they raised goes towards the scholarship and bringing awareness into the schools and helping families when they've lost somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's kind of the David and Goliath problem in our society right now, among many others.
Yep.
But I just think it is so amazing that this tragedy has catapulted you into serving the community and the teens, and just showing the strength that you have and the love that you have for Justin and your daughter and your wife. I know a lot of families don't make it as a unit through something like this.
Yeah, that was a scary. It was a time that we had a talk, and we rely on each other. So, and I think we need to do more of that in life, as being there for your your loved one, your neighbor, helping out, and that's kind of what, like I said, gives me hope. But when we talk about hope, is that's what excited me when you asked me to come talk. It's on both ends on my side. It's the hope that these kids know that when they're having that cloudy day, that moment in life that they just don't think they can go on, I hope that they can actually see that that tomorrow things get better. And it may not be just tomorrow, it may be a week from now, it may be a month from now, but things do get better. A lot of kids can't look past school days, their high school life or junior high life, and think it's always going to be like that, and it's not. So my hope is that they know, they listen to this, that they see that it does get better. I've seen it hundreds and hundreds of times of people that have reached out to me and, in their despair, and they're not going to, they can't go on anymore, and they do. And then they reach back to me later down the road. I'm getting Christmas cards still saying, thank you for talking to me. I now have my own family, and I have a child that, I wouldn't have got to experience if it wasn't for your talk. So those are things that, give me the hope. And then, it's also on, I hope that people that have lost a child, or just a loved one to suicide, realize, and it's not just suicide, let me back up. It's losing a loved one, that life is going to be changed forever for us. But there is, you're still going to see those beautiful sunsets and those smiles and, those things that we look forward to in life, those will still come. And I hope they find some sort of peace. So.
And I think when we ended our conversation a few weeks ago, that we both believe that this is not the end.
Nope, it's not. We'll see him again.
And that is a wonderful hope to have and to cling on to.
Yes, we'll see him again, that's for sure.
Well, Darren, you are a blessing to so many people, and you are doing very good work. And thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your story to our community, because we need to hear it. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you want more information on the Fallen Brothers Foundation, the website is thefallenbrothersfoundation.com. Their 5K walk is April 28th. That's a Saturday, and they also have a golf tournament on June 3rd if you'd like to be involved. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time.